Do I go
Wait,
first?
are we recording?
We're recording.
What an intro! Wow. That is probably the most introverted introduction we could possibly give.
Yes.
Apparently, for recording. All right, we got this. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Am I yelling?
A little bit.
Okay,
There- there-
I'm slow my roll.
There's a little bit of volume there. It's all right, though.
Welcome to the Stay Introverted Podcast. I am Steph Laffey,
And I am Jay Coleman.
and we are so excited to have you guys here. We're going to be using this podcast to discuss our honest thoughts and POVs. What else are we going to be doing here?
We're really going to be talking about just that introvert life, the good, the bad. I don't want to say the ugly, but kind of just the parts that a lot of people don't really understand about introvert and introversion.
Right. Well, not even the ugly, like the uncomfortable, the awkward, like all the in between, all the stuff that, like, if you're an introvert, like, you know.
Exactly. And it definitely gets awkward sometimes.
All right. So we're going to try to refrain from all the awkward moments, but bear with us because we are introverts after all. But whether you're introverted, extroverted, or somewhere in between, this is the podcast for you. And we're just so excited to be here, to be celebrating being unapologetically introverted. And we're so grateful that you guys are listening.
That is definitely true. So without further ado, let's kind of get into it. And I want to start off with a question for you, Steph.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, when we kind of birthed this idea of having a podcast, you were definitely super excited, as was I. So I wanted to ask you, why do you want to do a podcast?
Ooh, that is a good question. So I like to hear myself talk, to be honest. So you know what? I figure maybe other people want to hear me talk too. No, but real talk. Like, I feel like as introverts, we like to joke around that we have nothing to say or that we're shy. But I feel like something that I've learned, especially in the last year and a half, as I really embraced my introversion, is that we all have something to say. And when we're put around the right people, we can say it and trust that it's going to be well received. And so that's what this podcast is about for me. Like, I have something to say. I spent the first 27, 28 years of my life not saying it. And so now I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to show people who I am.
Awesome. And
What about you?
so to dovetail off of that, I feel the same. For the longest part of my life, I'm a little bit older than 27, 28. Won't get into just how old this yet.
We're gonna get it out of you at some point where you're gonna eventually tell me how old you are.
So I'm 39. I will be 40 next year.
Wow.
Yeah. So for I guess the first 38, 39 years of my life, I kind of felt the same way that I really didn't have much to say, but I realized that I actually do. And really, this is coming about within the last year of me kind of being in this content creator online space where I'm actually an entrepreneur in my own right, but I also create content. And through that, I realized that, hey, I have a pretty unique and kind of interesting story to tell. So I've been doing that, and I wanted to really expand my storytelling and have an actual conversation. I didn't really want to do just me talking to a void. I really wanted to talk to someone and have actual real dope conversations. And that's why I had to hook up with my friend Steph, because you and I have had some cool conversations on IG and whatnot. So I'm very excited for what the future holds for this podcast.
I'm so excited. And I'm so excited that, like, when you approached me, like, for some reason, I almost felt like I knew, and maybe I'm just making this up, but I'm pretty sure I knew that when you called me that day, you were going to ask me to do a podcast. I was like Hell yes. Like, let's do it. Like, you didn't even finish asking the question. I'm like, yes, I'm in. Let's do it. Like, we're somehow on the same wavelength.
But for me, and I think a lot of introverts kind of feel this way. It's not so much that we don't have things to say, is that we value those genuine conversations, those more intimate one-on-ones where you're able to actually learn about the other person, not just talking to someone. You actually, I always say that a conversation is the exchange of relevant information. So if there's no exchange of relevant information, if someone's just spouting off general data, is just nothing to learn from that, or nothing to gain from that. So I really look for having those genuine, true conversations.
Oh, well, I'm so honored that you forced me to have conversations with every single week, and not even just the recorded ones, like all the planning that's been going into this. Like, you are actually you are signing up to talk to me for 2 hours a week, and I just I bow down to you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, this is definitely the most I will be talking in my life. So definitely,
it's an honor.
Definitely gonna be a new experience.
I'm so excited. So I'm curious, like, when you've been telling people that you've been doing this podcast about being introverted, what's been the reaction so far?
So the general reaction, I guess it's kind of a combination. One is like a pleasant surprise.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, you're doing a podcast? Oh, that's so cool."
Aren't you an introvert?
Yeah. And then that's the second part. Like, wait a minute, you don't talk? Do you like? Are you doing? Like, do you know what a podcast is? Like, are you sure? You're like, you sure it's not a book club? Like, are you sure? You just know what you're getting into? And I'm like, yes, I know what a podcast is. So I explain what I'm doing, what we're doing, and kind of what we envision the podcast to be, and they understand. So
they're probably still a little confused, but they get it. They know that we know what a podcast is.
Exactly. Like a couple of folks that have been rooting for me and kind of cheering me on, and just been keeping tabs on this journey that I've been on for the last, I guess, year and a half now. I think they understand that while I'm not that much of a talker in general in life, they also understand just like with the nature of this journey, it's the next logical step. So I think they understand it intellectually, but from a knowing me standpoint, they're kind of like, "Are you sure about this?"
Right. And I always say, I'm introverted, not mute. I mean, I don't know, but is that offensive? Am I allowed to say that in 2023?
Well, I think so. I think there's still that I don't know, stereotype or mindset that introverts just don't talk, and it's just like we're just going through life not saying anything at all, and that's just not true. Some of us talk more than others, some of us talk less, but we're not mute. We talk when we have something to say, and unfortunately, or not even unfortunately, we just have things to say to a few people, and that's fine.
Right. And I think that, I mean, I know a lot of extroverts and some of them get deep, but I find that I have most of my deepest conversations with fellow introverts.
Absolutely.
Because we spend so much time thinking and talking to ourselves that, like, even if we don't say it to other people, like, we've said a whole lot, maybe internally, but you know what? I think it's our time to shine. And I think that a podcast is a really cool place to do it, because we get the benefit of feeling like we're only talking to one other person, which kind of creates a safe space in a podcast environment. But then we go ahead and share it with the world, which is maybe I shouldn't say that, because now I'm going to scare myself. But Yeah, it's kind of nice. Like it's like the best of both worlds. It's like getting up to speak on a stage in the comfort of my own home.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was
Absolutely.
genius. You ever have thoughts like that? Like where you like say something and you're like, that was genius. Did that just come out of my mouth?
Yeah, like every time I make a post on IG, I'm like, damn, I made that up. Oh shit. Okay. I actually thought about that. That's cool.
I love it. I love it. Let us know. Anyone who's listening, let us know. Do you have moments like that where you're just you're like, I kind of wish somebody else was here to experience this genius thought that I just had.
That's the thing. Like we have like such great thoughts, but it's like we don't be talking to anybody, so no one knows. No one knows what we're
Right.
saying, or like the
Right.
people that we talk to know what we're thinking. We just don't feel the need to necessarily broadcast everything.
Right. Well, I mean, I maybe speak for yourself because I feel like lately I can't stop talking.
Just
And it's my husband that keeps making the joke. He's like, "What did you just like unlock? Like, did your mouth just open like after 26 years of like, or how old am I? How old did I say I was?
what?
I'm forgetting. Sorry, it's been a weird day. But it's like I feel like your mouth finally just like opened like 2 years ago, and it has not closed. You finally learned how to make words.
How to make words? Well, it's kind of similar to this again. And we've talked offline, but this young lady that I'm dating is kind of the same way. She's very much an introvert from the standpoint of when she's ready to go home, she's ready to go home. She's
Right.
perfectly fine with just chilling, watching Amazon Prime.
Right.
But she also likes to talk, and she can talk a lot. So
Oh yeah.
so uh, I've had quite a few 2 and 3 and even 4 hour phone calls.
Oh, I love
And I
that.
and I do too. Like I enjoy it. Like normally, I couldn't even fathom talking to somebody more than like a half hour. But
Right.
when you have a good connection, or when you're able to touch on so many different topics, because her and I, we talk about what's going on in the world. We talk about, things that we think about and things that we feel. We talk about, am I the asshole on Reddit? We just talk
Oh
about,
yeah.
so many different things. And we'll look up and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And we got on the phone at 8:30, so it's actually been pretty awesome. I wouldn't say that I like talking more, but I will say that when the conditions are right, you probably can't shut me up.
Right. Exactly. And luckily for you guys, the conditions are right. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
all right. So Jay, I feel like somehow we've been talking for about 20 minutes and we haven't introduced ourselves really.
Not really.
We should probably get to that. So tell me about yourself. Who are you?
So I am Jay Coleman. I am, if you haven't guessed by everything else that we said, a lifelong introvert. I am also the owner and founder of my own brand of clothing, Sincerely an Introvert. It's an introvert, a line of introverted loungewear. You can check it out on sincerelyintrovert.com. But I also am a content creator, and I kind of came to the understanding that I am a content creator for introverts, which has been pretty cool. It's been a very fun journey. I've learned a lot about myself as an introvert. Like I said before, I learned that I have a pretty cool story to tell, and that's what I've been doing, and that's what I will continue to do. So that's a little bit about me. Who are you? Who are you, fellow introvert?
Who am I? Who am I? Oh goodness. That's a loaded question. It's funny because like I feel like if you asked me this question like 2 years ago, I feel like my answer would have been so different. Honestly, a year ago. But anyway, I haven't even changed all that much. I've just like grown into myself and then just embraced my introversion. But I'm Steph Laffey. I'm 29 as of this recording. I live in New York. I work as an ops risk analyst during the day, but I'm super passionate about blogging about my personal development journey. And I live with my husband and our 3-year-old French bulldog. That's all on paper stuff. But I think as for who I really am, I'm an introvert. And a lot of people might not guess that these days. But I'm super quirky. I spend a lot of time journaling, reflecting, and having deep conversations about life and my life. And just, I think my favorite things to do are laugh and just have fun and listen to great music. So that's a little bit about why can I talk right now? Suddenly I can't talk. But anyway, I started an account during COVID back when I was really shy and uncomfortable and afraid to talk. Had never really been on social media before, but I started an Instagram during COVID and I sort of fell in love with the whole personal development space and journaling space. And yeah, that's I don't really know if I answered your question, but that's pretty typical. That's me in a nutshell. That right there. That is who I am.
That's awesome.
Just kidding. Normally I'm a little bit more hinged.
No worries. No, you definitely answered it. And an actual fun fact, we are both native New Yorkers for our audience.
Yeah.
I am from Queens, born and raised. Don't live in New York as of this recording, but New York will always be home.
I feel like you have more of a New York accent than I do.
Really?
I don't think I have one at all.
It's, you're probably the first person in my life who's actually said I have a New York accent, because everywhere I've gone, people think I have a Southern accent.
I don't hear it.
I don't hear it as well. People think...
Then again, I have horrible hearing, so maybe don't ask me.
People swear that they think I'm from like Alabama or somewhere.
Really?
I guess. Like I don't get it myself. I'm like, I am from Jamaica, Queens.
Wow.
Everybody in my neighborhood sounds like me. It is not Southern at all. But it is like I've heard some Southern accents. It is not that.
I don't know who you're hanging out with, but clearly they never met a Southerner either.
Yeah, it's weird. These are the same people who say that all New Yorkers are mean and rude. And I'm like, then I ask, well, have you been to New York? Well, no. Then how would you know?
So they're not familiar with the accent. They've never been to New York. Maybe you should just not ask them about your New York personality.
Yeah, like it's interesting. And, I've also gotten the, oh, you're so nice. Are you sure you're from New York? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure. Woke up every day in New York City.
That's
but again, it's stereotypes, things that we deal with as introverts, so nothing new there.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's like people always ask me, and I don't know if you get this a lot, but people are like, are you sure you're an introvert? I'm like, yeah, quite sure. Because after this conversation, I'm going to go home and stare at a wall and like not talk for hours.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I in my last job, so for the viewers out there, I'm born and raised in New York, but I actually lived in California for the last 10 years. So at the last job that I had in California, we were at a function for staff. And in work or at work, I am typically sort of happy-go-lucky, always quick with a joke. I never take myself too seriously. And so I was talking to a few of my coworkers, And I just happened to tell him that I'm very much an introvert. And you would have thought that like like I insulted them or like told them some just big lie. Like they did not believe me at all. They're like, no, you're not. You're always joking and volunteering to.
What other lies have you told us?
Exactly. You give lectures and you get up there and give trainings about contract and stuff and purchasing. There's no way you can be an introvert. And I'm like, no, that's work J. Okay. Work J is funny and articulate and quick with a joke and very cordial and outgoing. Real J is going to go home after this and sleep for the next 2 days.
So you were probably relieved during COVID when you could like just turn off.
Seriously,
Oh my God.
I tell everybody, I'm only half joking that I never felt more like a true American patriot than during the first weeks of COVID. Like my government is telling me to stay home.
That's so funny.
Stay home.
Wait, really? Okay.
Stay away from people. Yes, stay less, my dude. What? How can I help?
Can I like make 2 of me?
Yes. How can I be of service? Please tell me.
That's so funny.
If that's what you want me to do, listen. I never felt so patriotic in my life, man.
It's so funny because I like pre-COVID, for me, I had actually the opposite reaction. I was like, wait, you want me to stay home? Like, how am I going to do that? But then about 2 weeks into making banana bread for every meal and like drinking more wine than anybody should ever drink, I was like, I could do this forever. Like, please don't send me back out there. And I think that's when I started to learn I am actually an introvert. I don't know if I knew that before. I started to realize I'm an introvert. I've just been like forced to like just live in this crazy world. And like now I'm in my element.
Yeah, I do think a lot of people either came to the realization that they are in fact an introvert, or I guess gain some sense of acceptance that they are introverted. I think that I'm not going to say COVID was a good thing, but I guess if any positive could come out of it, I guess on an individual level, it's just that folks got to understand who and what they are a little bit better. I know for me, I'm kind of right there with you in the sense that I really came to understand that, yeah, I'm an introvert, and I just came to accept that's how I am. I've trained myself to be able to have conversations and power through small talk when I have to, particularly in a professional setting. But once it's over, I'm gone. I'm not staying a minute longer than I have to.
Right.
I'm going home. I'm gonna have me some root beer, a couple of buffalo wings. Do not call me to go out later. I'm not with the after party. No, not at all.
I gotta say I'm the after party girl, but it's only because I go out so infrequently. Like I'm like if I'm out, you better freaking enjoy it, because this is happening once and it ain't happening again for a while.
That makes sense.
If you get me out of my pain, I'm staying out, because once they go back in, it's not coming back out.
Yes, get all your step time right now.
Right.
That's awesome. And I think that kind of goes to sort of our next topic, but kind of our next point, in that there's no one way to be an introvert. We come in different flavors. Some of us are shy. Some of us are socially awkward, but there's nothing, social awkwardness and shyness aren't limited to or specific to introverts. I know plenty of extroverts who are very awkward socially, and they can't be shy.
Absolutely.
I used to think that I was shy, but I realized that as I was able to understand more about myself and how I am, I realized that there are some times where I'm shy, and then there are some times where I just don't feel like talking to people.
Right.
Or maybe I'm not shy, but I'm in a room with people I don't know, and so I'm just not necessarily inclined to initiate a discussion with people I don't know. If someone comes to me, I'll be polite and cordial, but I'm not necessarily looking to have a full-blown discussion with somebody I don't know. That's different from being shy.
Right. And I think a lot of people misconstrue, like a lot of people think that like, because you're an introvert, you are shy. And it's like, no, you can be shy and an introvert, but it's like not one because of the other. It's like, they're just two separate personality traits. Like a lot of introverts probably seem to come off as shy, and a lot of introverts are shy, but I don't think that it's like mutually, I don't think it's the same thing.
Exactly.
Like I used to be shy for sure, and there's certain situations that I'm still shy. But shyness, like 2 years ago, most people would describe me as shy. Now most people would not. And I think that just in different seasons of your life, like you just take on different traits.
Exactly. I have a couple of introvert friends who can be shy, and I've seen we'll be out, and someone will mess up their food order, or will be lost, and you can see that they're very uncomfortable with the notion of of having to talk to somebody. Me, I have no problem going up to somebody and say, hey, can you tell me where this building is, or hey, you messed up my order. I'm still an introvert,
right?
I just just because I'm a little, I guess can't think of the word assertive.
Right.
Just because I've trained myself to be assertive in certain situations doesn't mean I'm any less introverted.
Right.
But there are so many ways to be introverted. A lot of us are on the quiet side. A lot of us are on the more reserved side. I would place myself in that category. I'm very chill and laid back.
Right.
So much so that I often get accused of not caring about anything because I'm very laid back. And it's funny to me because I'm not demonstrative. I get accused of not caring, but that couldn't be for the truth. I'm just not very demonstrative. But I also know people, introverts, who are loud.
Right. Like, like the one you're talking to right now.
That wasn't a shot. That wasn't a shot. That's
okay. All right. Whatever.
There are no strays here. That was not a shot. But there are.
I believe you.
I appreciate that. But yeah, there are introverts who are loud. If you get us on the right topic, we can't shut up. If you ask me a question about 90s R&B or basketball, that's a 5-hour conversation minimum.
Note to self: do not ask about basketball or 90s R&B. I can get behind. Yeah, no, I hear you, and I feel like like I feel like some of the stereotypes that I probably fall under is I'm definitely sensitive, like very sensitive. Well, it's getting better, I guess. And I'm used to be the queen of overthinking, like everything. I lived so much in my head. But yeah, I mean, I just think that like over the course of our lives that we're gonna experience so many different things, and like I really think it's a disservice to introversion to always equate all of those like stereotypes and descriptions to like I feel like it's not fair to blame our introversion. That's what I'm trying to say.
I totally agree. I think, and it's easy to kind of fall into that trap where
Right.
it's be like, oh well, I'm introverted. Well, you know, yeah, you're an introvert, but you don't necessarily have to, live up to the stereotypes.
Right. Exactly. And like you like make your own stereotype. Like it's always so funny when people say, I'm introverted, so I'm awkward. I'm like, well, I'm introverted too. Does that mean you think I'm awkward? I don't think I'm awkward. Actually I do. But that was a bad example. um, but it's like it can take on infinite forms, and it does take on infinite forms. I mean, there are like you're in this life, you're either introverted, extroverted, or I guess an ambivert is one of the new things that's coming up.
Mm.
And if there's 8 billion people on this planet, I mean, introversion's gonna look different for the 3 to 4 billion of us that consider ourselves introverts, right? We're not all like, carbon copies of one another. So it gets to look like whatever you want it to, I guess.
Exactly. See, I think I know what the problem is. See, the problem is because most of us are on the quiet side or on the non-demonstrative side. I think I made up a word there, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
All words made up, so it works.
Oh, you're going to hear a lot of that on this show, guys.
Exactly. Because, we're not out here telling folks what introversion is. We're kind of relying on the people who are talking, and that's extroverts. Extroverts are the one saying what introverts are. See, extroverts are a menace, and we got and we have to do our part, introverts, to speak up and stop this, because we got people out here telling the world how we are, and that's not it. So
yeah,
I think
I'm just caught.
Yeah, I think one of the goals of this podcast is to essentially redefine what it means to be an introvert, because we can't have these extroverts out here speaking for us.
Right. I don't want other people telling my story. Like,
exactly.
I'm living like this epic narrative, but like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's here to hear it, did it really fall? Like, like I want to tell my own story, and I think that we definitely want to encourage our listeners to participate in the conversation and, decide what introversion means for you and feel free to share it with us.
Yeah. I think that is an excellent way to get to our main question. I'm sure our audience is asking main question. It's been a half hour. Did they take the main question yet? Nope. Because we're introverts and we talk about a variety of things before we get to the actual point. That's how it is.
That needs to be on a t-shirt, by the way.
Yes. Introverts.
Diane.
We would go around the world before we get to the point. I like it.
It's not just me. Oh my God. I thought something was wrong with me. I'm so glad I can blame the introversion for that one.
Oh yeah. I will. And so many times I've had a pre-conversation before we got to the actual conversation. But yes.
Okay. But what is the point? What is the point?
Our main question for this episode: what does being an introvert mean to you? So I will ask you, Steph, what does being an introvert mean to you?
Damn, putting me on the spot. That's a big one. I guess being an introvert for me just means that I spend a lot of time going inward and like really just like I get my energy and my interest from myself. I can really just I can spend all day being with myself and I kind of reflect outwardly how I feel. I need a lot of time to recharge, but during that recharge time, I'm having a blast, like just hanging out with myself. Um, so I think that my definition of introversion is just getting clearer and clearer every day, the more that I get to know myself. But for me, being an introvert just means that I am able to turn inward to draw energy and to get excited about things and to feel motivated. Whereas I think that extroverts draw their inspiration and interest from the world around them.
Awesome.
What about you?
Well, first, I agree with everything you said.
Oh, you actually followed that? Cool. I love talking to introverts.
See, we listen.
Yeah.
We listen to actually listen, and we don't just listen to talk. We actually listen.
Right.
For me, I would say being an introvert is sort of a complex simplicity. And the reason I say that is because I think that people tend to project a lot of their feelings or what they think being an introvert is on introverts, when really we're probably some of the most simple people on the planet, and that's not a slight to introverts. It's just that for the most part, we just want to chill. We kind of want to be left alone. We want to just do our thing in peace and quiet.
Right.
We want to go to work, put in a good day, put in a good day's work, and go home. We just want to chill in the corner and read our books. We want to go out for a walk in the park without having to engage in small talk. Just such simple things. Not that we can't have a nuanced conversation. Not that we sometimes don't want to, but for me personally, I very much get my energy from being alone, from solitude. I think that people think introversion is this complex kind of nebulous thing, but it can be. But I think a lot of times, in my experience, when it is complex or nebulous, it's because of somebody else has somebody else's projections and what they think introversion actually is, instead of actually trying to get to know an introvert, and letting someone who's introvert kind of open up in their own time, at their own pace. So that's kind of, I think that's where you get a lot of these stereotypes and thoughts on what introversion actually is. But it really ain't that deep with a lot of us. A lot of us just kind of, a lot of us kind of want to be left alone. A lot of us actually are willing to have a discussion. We're just not going to be pressured or rushed into it. A lot of us just do things on our own terms. So that was a lot, but that's what being an introvert means to me.
I mean, you've spoken like a true introvert. So yeah, guys, let us know what your definition of introversion is. Let us know what you relate to, because obviously you're getting two very different views and takes on introversion. But like we said, there are infinite ways to be an introvert, and you're getting two unique people. So tell us what your take is. Tell us what you resonated with, what you didn't resonate with, and tell us your own definitions. And I think the next episode we're going to react to, or in a few episodes, we're going to react to some people's takes.
Absolutely. I think it actually will be our very next episode. I mean, who better to tell us than introverts? So that's kind of what we're going to do. Steph and I are going to pick a few of our favorites, share them with you, the audience, give our opinions on them, and just have a dope conversation.
Love it. I'm so excited. And yeah, thank you for listening. Be sure to rate, review. I don't know what else you're supposed to say. I'll figure it out next time.
Yes, we'll figure it out. It's not
This is our first This is our first rodeo. Most people normally say this is our first rodeo. This is. No.
Very much is.
We'll figure out the outro next time. You would think the number of podcasts I listen to, I'd know, like, be sure to rate, review, and follow us and follow. I don't know. But yes. Do all that. Do all that.
Yes, do all that.
You know what to do.
I think we're supposed to say something like, be sure to catch us wherever you get your podcasts.
Something like that.
Something like that.
We'll get it. Or not. Or we'll just do this every time.
Yeah. This could be our outro. Like, we don't know which was to do, but go ahead and do it, fam. You appreciate it. Like that. Because I think.
Yeah, you guys, so. Truly.
Yes.
If you're still listening. Oh, wow.
Yes. This is going to be the longest outro ever. But we definitely. It's odd because if there's one thing introverts know how to do, it's in a conversation. But for some reason, we're having a hard time sticking this landing. So,
you would think as introverts we'd be able to say goodbye, but apparently that's hard. We just don't want it to end, which is so odd. It seems like an oxymoron. Oh my God. All right. Stop that record button because we're not going to be able to stop.
Exactly. It's going to be a 2-hour goodbye. So on behalf of Steph and my son, with all jokes aside, we do appreciate you taking the time out of your day or night to listen to us. We look forward to, making and recording these episodes for you guys. So just stay tuned, and as always, stay introverted.
Stay introverted.